Greetings, friends. My name is John Gabriel, and this is the new Calculus channel. So today, I'm going to ask a very simple question in this series number 6 of Musings. Okay, Musings as in amuse or to be musing about things. So, it's about fractions, and the question that I'm going to answer is why is a half equal to 2/4? Well, you'll see that it's not always equal to 2/4. So let's begin. Now, in this search that I did here, it says if a pie is cut into 4 pieces, then 2 pieces represent the same amount of pie that a half did. That is indeed correct. And in this case, we say that a half is equivalent to 2/4. Yes, correct. And fractions are determined to be equivalent, and they just give you a method here by how to determine them, but that's just one of many methods. So let's go to this little demonstration. Now remember, not so long ago I showed you that a number is a name that is given to the measure of a magnitude or a size, where in the most primitive way we think of line segments as a magnitude. How long is this line segment, right? This red line segment and this blue one. That's how we come to realize number, all right? And the theory of proportions is in book 5 and proposition 12, which I already covered. Now, if we look at 1/2, which is the top part of the circle here, it's equivalent to 2/4 if we divide the circle up into 4, right? But this equivalent fractions only apply if the abstract unit is used. And what is the abstract unit? The abstract unit is a unit whose actual size we don't care about when we make a statement such as a half equals to 2/4. But now remember I showed you that a number has both a antecedent or a numerator, the red part, or a consequent or a denominator, right? So we can represent this using similar triangles as you see over here in this construct. I'll place a link to this applet and you can play around with it in your own good time. Now, as you can see, 1/2 is represented by this vertical line and this line segment here. This little line segment here where I'm pointing, where you see the hand and or the cross, and this line segment here where you see the cross pointing to, okay, or the hand. So this line segment compared to this line segment is the name that we give to a half. And of course, this 1 here is the length of this segment, and 2 is the length of this segment. As you can see, both of these represent a half, but this line segment here is longer than this one. And why is that so? Because the unit used is not the same. So in the case of this half here, the unit is this distance here, and it is divided into 2 equal parts. Whereas in the case of this line segment here, the unit is this distance, and it is divided into 4 equal parts, okay? And that is what it means when we talk about equivalent fractions, all right? But as you can see, when we write down a half is equal to 2/4, we're not worried about the length of these units. In other words, we assume the abstract unit. So that should answer your question about whether a half is equal to 2/4, okay? And if you go to this side here, you'll see many answers, and they have some truth and some not truth in them, so to speak. So, and Quora is not a site I would visit, by the way, for any definite information. It's very, very iffy, just like Wikipedia. So that's all I wanted to show you today, and I hope you've learned now why we can write a half is equal to 2/4, because every number is represented by an antecedent and a consequent ratio. And it's this, for example, this here wouldn't be a number until we establish that this line segment and this line segment can be measured by the same line segment, okay? And but they both can. In this case, they can be measured by a line segment about as long as this distance that I'm pointing to, okay? So in other words, this distance measures both these line segments. And so this here, this ratio here becomes the number 2/3, which is just a name given to 2/3, right? Similarly, 4/6 is also another name given to 2/3, right? And so another one thing I want to point out about equivalent fractions is that they are a measure or a name which is formed from a different measure. So for example, just back here to summarize, this half here is measured using 2 equal parts. 1, 2. This half here, or 2/4, is measured using 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So that is what is a number, and there are no other numbers. There are no real numbers. For example, there is no such thing as a Dedekind cut or a Cauchy equivalence, a class of equivalence sequences. That's just garbage. So anyway, that's all I wanted to tell you. This might be my last video, as I am having surgery tomorrow, and I don't know if I'll awake from the anesthetic given my lung condition. I think I'll survive it. So anyway, that's it for now. I'm John Gabriel. This is the New Calculus channel. Till next time, goodbye, friends.